want me to put that when you're talking?
That's good. That's good. What do all these buttons do? Don't.
It's
You shouldn't have showed me that.
Yeah, it got noises. I'm gonna start switching. Press it again. Turn it off. There we go. You got a lot of them. I'm gonna put boo. I'm gonna put like clapping audience. I'm gonna put you suck. I'm gonna put a different sound bites.
Word.
So what's up, bro? What's going on? Talk to me.
Another day in paradise, baby.
Everything.
Ocala, Florida. Let's go.
There we go.
Yo, do you love Ocala?
Do I love Ocala?
Yeah.
I don't think I grew the love for Ocala yet.
Okay.
But it's we have a good relationship right now.
Yeah. I love Ocala.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yep.
It's teaching me a lot.
Yep.
It definitely told me to be patient. Definitely be patient. And I've always been in the city, so being in like suburb area, country area, it's been different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, bro. Yo, listen, I have an interesting story, yo. Earlier today, someone called me. I'm not gonna say no names, and he's like, "Listen, I have a question for you." I'm like, "Sure."
Right.
And I'm thinking, is it like a client or someone who's inquiring about a business? And they're like, "Listen, I got your number from someone. They saying that you're downplaying my business or you're trying to steal my clients." I didn't even tell you this. Like right before you came earlier, and I'm like, "Excuse me?" He was like, "Yeah, you own this business, such and such," and I'm like, "Yeah, where did you get that information?" It was like, "Well, you wrote something on Facebook." I'm like, "You got the wrong person, dude." Because one, I want everybody to eat. Two, I never reach out to clients or potential clients. I let them reach out to me. Right. That's why I put in the footwork so I can have enough exposure for people to reach out to me, bro. And in my mind, I'm like, bro, I'm about to go off on them.
Right.
Off. But he was the way he approached me. It was he was kind. He didn't mean no malice. He was just confused.
Yep.
Bro, we got into a conversation for like 20 minutes.
Wow.
I wound up speaking about the podcast, and he's like, "I would love to be on." You know,
wow.
I watched like Joe Rogan and the Breakfast Club and stuff like that. I'm like, "Yo, yeah, cool." And then he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna add you right now, and we can set something up." I'm like, "Bro, he really wants to come on the podcast."
Wow, here we go.
Yeah. And yo, that goes to show you this is why I love Ocala, is because it allowed me to compress those thoughts that I used to have. Like if I was in Tampa or New York, I would have went off.
Yeah.
I would have went off.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a good thing. And a lot of people has been reaching out as far as they want to be on a podcast. They want to share their story, and I find that really intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people reached out to me. A lot of people I haven't spoken to in years.
Wow.
And I'm like, yo, yes, this is kind of why we do it, right?
That's great, bro.
Right. We want to inspire people.
Yep.
Right. We want to motivate people. We want to show people that we're all alike. It doesn't matter your title. It doesn't matter what you have accomplished. Everyone has a story.
Hey, to add on, so this is our second podcast. First podcast, we got to hear one another. You know, obviously this is my big brother, Marty Marr, as he's better known as. The legendary, the bearded sensation, and we got to just talk and have a good conversation last week, hearing about Deafine podcast and what it's all about. And so here's what it's all about. We all have defining moments, and we want to hear them, because oftentimes in those moments, right, we think we're alone. We think no one has experienced what I experienced, and so then you don't share it because no one's gonna understand. But the reality is, as you were just saying, bro, we're more alike than really we think. We're all human. Bleed the same color, and we all have a story. We all have a story that can make a difference. And so mine is of that. As I moved over here to Ocala at the age of 14 years old, raised by my grandmother, and I hated it over here. Absolutely hated it.
That's a strong word.
I hated it. I literally punched walls or punched holes in walls because of anger. Yeah.
I didn't know you had that in you.
Oh yeah, I had it in me. The wall was cheap and it was thick. But I hated it here. Now, 16 years later, I got a beautiful wife of almost 10 years, an 8-year-old son, and Ocala's home. I choose to be here. But see, that's a defining moment was me moving here, learning what it is to resent a place that you have to be. Then now turning that into a story of really admiration for the city, seeing it grow. and man, now selling real estate in the city, and I love it. And so we all have a story,
right,
whether it's
absolutely,
like mine or not. Yep.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I just want to say thank you to the viewers, people who tuned in, people who are commenting on our social media,
Yep.
people who listen through, iTunes or Spotify, whatever the case may be. Like, our whole intention with this is, again, just to inspire, man. This is something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be in a position where I can express myself, right? And this is my brother, he's, I mentioned this in the first podcast, he's a magnet. He's a magnet of people. People just love him. The way he presents himself, the way he carries himself is very noble. Wow. Would you agree?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, man. Unless you would have said something, I really don't try to think about that. Like, hey, look at me. No, that's something not
somebody that is noble would say.
Yeah,
typical.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Kind words.
Yeah, bro. So, so how was your week, bro? Because, listen, I'm gonna throw some smoke at you.
Go ahead.
You know that,
yeah,
right? This is my little bro. I always gotta beat him up a little bit,
verbally.
You taking that serious? So after we finished the podcast, I got straight to work. We got straight to work. Yeah. Well, I got straight to work. And we was supposed to release the podcast on Sunday. I thought I can wait an hour, 2 hours before releasing the podcast onto these platforms, and it'll be all good.
Right.
Bro, it took almost 15 hours to upload to YouTube.
Really?
So instead of Sunday at 6, I uploaded it at Monday at 7 a.m.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy, bro. I was punching, like swinging at the air. I was going crazy because I'm the type of person, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to honor that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm real big on that. And people think I'm like a douche because of that. Like, if you tell me something, I don't expect you to do anything more than what you told me. Right. I hold people accountable.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is cool. But anyway, once we uploaded it, I had so much feedback from family. Like, yo, I didn't even let you listen to the audio.
No.
I got my stepdad sent me a audio clip.
Okay.
Crying.
Wow.
Bro, literally crying. Just like, listen, it was a proud moment. And that put like a frog in my throat.
Wow.
It's because...
No, you didn't tell me this.
Yeah, I didn't. I just so much going on. But I was going to actually put it into this clip. But I'm like, nah, that's personal. That's something I want to keep for myself.
Yeah.
And
wow, bro.
Yeah, it was dope. The family, everybody reached out. Everybody said, congratulations. But yo, this is not nothing new. I've been saying that I was going to do a podcast.
Yep.
And when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I'm not trying to, boost myself up. But sometimes it takes me longer, just like the business. It took me a year and a half. I said I was going to do it. I took some time on it. Same thing with the podcast. And yo, I love it. I love it being in the presence of my brother because this whole week he's been gone. I spoke to him for about 20 minutes the whole week. So I feel like this is the only time we're going to be able to connect. Is that true?
Oh, man. Well, yes, it's true for this week. Now, hopefully that's not the only time we connect.
He's using me, guys.
But no way. The reality. So Monday night, I went down to Fort Myers. I did a conference, and it was an incredible conference, man. Leadership conference. I got to learn from so many incredible, renowned ministry leaders. So ministry like church leaders and non-for-profit leaders in general. So it was really great, bro. And then ended yesterday's session like with a kind of marriage conference, encouragement. Bro, it was amazing. And they got to see my wife's grandparents, on the way back home, which was a beautiful thing. Y'all, just I wanted to side note, bro, if I may. Man, if you got family, you got grandparents who are still with us, still with you, man, reach out to them. Obviously, with COVID and this pandemic that's going on, really your older population is what's the word I'm looking for?
More vulnerable
to illness, and so you're finding them a lot in isolation. And it broke my heart yesterday here, sitting across the table with my wife's grandparents. They were saying that they used to, pre-pandemic, man, every week would play dominoes, would go out, have a beer with family, and they're older, beautiful couple. Now it's every several months that they see someone. And it just broke our hearts, man, because they're beautiful couple, but literally alone.
We can finally say welcome back to another episode. This is episode number 2. We're going to continue to doing this. We're going to continue to roll out content.
Yep.
We plan on doing this releasing episode every week. Now, this is a guest-based podcast. What that means is mostly every week we'll bring on another guest, someone that we find fascinating, someone that has an interesting story that you may or may not be able to relate to. So this is a very interesting guest. To me, very fascinating. We met about a year ago, and this also awesome gentleman moved from Egypt with the same intent and interest similar to mine to be able to create something and pave a way for his family. Right. He's very well known here in Ocala, so it's definitely an honor to have someone in this caliber come on our podcast, and he's very interesting. So I have a few questions, and I know there's things that you may want to talk about and may not want to talk about. So welcome, Mo. Thank you for coming on, man.
Hi. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem, man. I reached out to you a few days ago, and bro, we had a conversation on the phone for about an hour and a half. And it felt like it was so smooth. It was so genuine, right? I haven't seen you or heard from you in a while. Where you been, man?
Well, I've been busy really working on my clothing store, trying to set that up. And it's going to be like in front of Baddock Mall. Nice.
So you have new endeavors.
Yeah, I've been really busy with that. Since the timeout closed, I really put my focus into the next step.
Right. And we're going to get into timeout because there's people that are going to be listening and then people that's going to be watching. So we'll get into more context with that. But you have an interesting story, right? So I want to talk about a little bit about, your upbringing, like where you came from. I see that you have this entrepreneur spirit, right. And from the conversations that we have, you are very genuine and a giving person. And I admire stuff like that. It's hard, especially in this day and age, to come across someone who's very noble, who's very humble, who treats people with kindness and caring as you. Yeah. So where do you come from? Tell us a little bit about your background and your upbringing.
My background is I was born in Egypt, and I lived in Egypt till all the way to my high school. And I had to travel to like the Middle East countries, Dubai and Saudi Arabia, to discover around. I really like to travel everywhere. Then I had to go back to Egypt and finish my college. I went to college to be a business administration and accountant. So I finished my college. Then I start working. I had my first job actually in a factory used to make suits, and I was accountant there. Like I had to make the paychecks for over 30,000 workers.
Wow.
So I had a lot of people, they were work with me, but I like the final signatures have to come from me. So I have to go through a lot.
Wow.
I really didn't like the system, how they make everything. So in about I would say about a year and a half, 2 years, I had to find some different. So I work as an accountant also for Marlboro company.
Okay.
That's in Egypt. Then during this time, I will leave and I'll take a month and go to Holland and come back. Take a couple months and go to England, see friends of mine, just to see around. Then I always been listening or watching movies about America. I know not everything that you see in the movies was true, but I just like the people. I like how people are happy and fun, and I wasn't really targeting the money. I was targeting where is the place where everybody wants to be at. And of course, America is one of the places. You guys might not see it because you guys live here.
No, I see it. It's a land of opportunity. I believe it. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says.
Yes, it is. So I moved to America, I would say about 12 years ago or 13 years ago. And I moved to Ohio. And I didn't really have any money when I first moved to America. I didn't really speak the language too. I know English because that's what we learn in school, but it's totally different. English is like British accent. It's nothing like American accent. So, but you do know English.
Yeah, right.
So I moved to Ohio, and I work in the grocery stores and I would say about 2-3 months, and it was about to get cold. That was around May, and they told me it's gonna be cold around like September, October.
Right.
So I said, no, I'm out of here. So I saved a little bit of money. So I just moved to. I had a friend. She lived. She's a nurse. She lived in Clearwater area. So I stayed in their house for a little bit till I find a job in the mall in a clothing store with a guy, and I worked with him for 3 years. But after a year being working with him, I found out myself doing everything. I'm making the orders and putting everything up, and I'm doing the inventory.
Right.
I'm running a business for somebody to make him money, which is okay for me because I'm learning.
Right.
And being a salesman in a country like this where it's not your language, it was really kind of hard. But I had to push it harder and harder. And I learned it really fast. And this guy, after 3 years, he had to close the business down. I didn't really save that much money to open anything on my own yet. So I said, let me sit back. And I went back to Egypt and visit my family. Then when I came back, I started something totally different. I started a photography studio, actually.
Oh,
Wow.
so
Yes.
you see the shit
didn't
that
know
we
that.
in now, and you
Yes.
can understand what goes behind it.
All the setup
wow.
I still have the same equipment that I used when I opened the photography studio till today.
Man, you do it all, man.
Yeah, I did this because it was like around the money that I have. I couldn't open a clothing store, but I'm not gonna just sit and try to find another job or start over. No, let me try. Let me take the rest. So I did the photography studio. It did really good. And it'll say about a year and a half. I just couldn't be in a business where you have to be there 24 hours, 7 days a week. You have to do everything yourself because when like skill business, you have to be there.
Well,
So I moved to Ocala. I decided to move to Ocala because Ocala did not have any clothing store really.
right.
It did have some, but it's not the quality that people look for. I moved to Ocala and opened a clothing business. It was a little spot in a Baddock Mall.
Okay.
But people was really in need for this. Like when I opened the store, when I was setting up, people was knocking on the door before I even had a cash register or anything. Nothing. They were just knocking on the door. Hey, let me buy this. Let me buy. I was making sales before I even put them on the wall.
Wow.
This is
crazy.
like God was really good, and He was like planning everything, putting everything together.
Wow.
And I moved from 2,000 square foot to 3,500 square foot. Then in a couple of years, I moved to almost 5,000 square foot. So just kept getting bigger and bigger. Things was good. And after a little bit of being in business, I was in business around 7 years in that mall. I love playing pool. I play pool. Even in my store in the mall, I had a pool table in my store. The customers, they will come in and play some pool with me, and they shop while they're like
cool.
It was more fun.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to open a pool room. So I find a place, and me and my wife, my wife is really hard. Like I don't know what would I have done without my wife in my life. Like she's really hard worker person.
Shout out to all the wives out there.
Yeah.
I
Like
can't
the
say
real
that.
ones.
Yeah,
One day.
but I always behind every successful man is a
Come on.
woman. This is
That's good.
just 100%
That's
true.
good, man.
Yeah,
Is that why I'm like stuck here?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm just kidding.
I'm taking application.
Your time. Oh, shout out.
Yeah.
Hey,
This
signature
is
ad
very
Marty
true.
Martin. Yeah, that's
if
great.
God
man.
wants to bless you, He will give you.
Right. Yeah, I'm being
Good
patient.
woman
I'm
in
working
your
on
life.
his time right now.
Wow.
But okay. So I want to
That's
give
good.
a little bit of a context. I want to understand your way of thinking. Right. So you moved to America with basically nothing. Right. You didn't even know the language.
I
right.
did know English, but I didn't speak the language. Yeah.
Right.
Not
it
like
wasn't fluent.
conversational. It wasn't like
Correct.
to be able to be
Yeah, like
conversational.
when I
Yeah.
first moved here, I would have never come and do this conversation with you
Oh,
guys.
wow.
Right.
Right.
So that's crazy how the tables turn. Right.
Yeah.
You just persistent. Look at you now.
I mean, English is the easiest language on earth that you can learn. Yeah,
Wow.
English is so easy. Anybody can learn English.
Right. So, what as a child, what was your life like? Did you have parents that were entrepreneur? Were they in business?
Yes,
Did
I
you?
have a great.
Did
They
you?
wasn't in business. No, my dad was an accountant in a bank in Saudi Arabia,
Oh, okay.
and my mother is a doctor.
Oh, nice, nice,
Yes,
nice.
doctor.
So was those values, being a husband, being a businessman, was that instilled in you at an early age, or did you just figure that out while dealing with life itself?
Dealing with life itself.
Right,
Yes.
right,
Oh, okay.
okay. So you come here, you come to Ocala, you start this clothing store. By the way, there's a need right now.
Still
like
is.
literally, in order for me to get fly, I have to go to Orlando,
Or Tampa,
Gainesville,
yeah.
or Tampa,
Yep.
which is easily hour and a half away.
Gainesville didn't really have anything.
Yeah.
Gainesville's
That
still
that
behind.
yeah, but the clothes there is not
Tampa
so.
or Orlando is the places that people would, if they ever needed to shop for good clothes, they would go to Tampa or Orlando.
Right. So working for this guy, you learned everything you need to, right? You
Correct.
took in all this knowledge. You was a
I would
student.
say at least 70% of the business.
Nice. So, what made you move to Ocala?
Like I said again, I did my research about what areas that don't have the same good clothing stores.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to. That's a very important thing to study the area before you start doing
Yeah.
any business.
Wow.
You know, it's
So that's
crazy.
a lesson right there. But expound. Let's emphasize that for a minute. So for those of you who are watching, who are like maybe in the beginning stages of dreaming and planning, or you have this desire to start a business, Mo, you said something that's huge. A great practical lesson is to study the area.
I would
Study,
come
study,
to the
study.
mall and
Wow.
sit there before I decided that I'm going to move to Ocala. I would come to the mall and just not shop. I'd just sit in the food court or sit in any
Wow.
couches or anything for hours and hours and see the traffic and see what kind of people that they come to the mall and all the stuff.
Wow.
Wow.
So what I wanted to say is, I
good.
basically did the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? I said I wanted to start a business. Right? We had conversations through, for a long period of time, and we figured this would be the best place because the market is so far behind. Right? You can literally create anything right now and blow up here in Ocala.
Sure.
Like that's without a doubt. Anything that you bring from a different place, you bring it here with the right marketing, the right people, you can blow up. So I find that interesting that you took your time to study.
Yeah. I didn't really have that much time, but as long as there's no really competition in the business that it's going to be a lot easier than you open where
Right.
there's a lot
Yeah.
of competition.
Yeah.
Less barriers of entry.
So even
Yeah.
even now, there's no competition in that.
It's there's no most of the people in Ocala remember the store Double T clothing from the mall. And now when I put the sign across the street from the mall for Double T clothing, my Facebook is just blowing when you're opening.
Wow.
Wow, that's amazing.
You do know the store. Most of the people in Ocala do know the store.
That's amazing.
Wow. So you've now so your brand of Double T
Yeah.
has a great reputation. here.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, and that took time. Obviously, we can talk about that another time. But
Right.
Yep.
So fast forward, timeout. And for the people that don't know what timeout is like the number one spot to go to as far as Latin nights. It's a billiard. It turns into a club. They had a restaurant. They had some food, some appetizers. They have a tiki in the back. And it was the number one spot to go to here in Ocala. What made you want to leave the clothing and get into entertainment? Because it was like a polarizing business, right? There's not too many. There's actually no one that was doing what you were doing.
Right.
And what's awesome about that is that you were giving people jobs and also giving people opportunities, right? Artists would come. I would see the flyers and stuff like that. Artists would come and would be able to showcase their talents, right? I haven't seen that here at all. So you would basically bring in culture into Ocala, which I love. So what made you get into that?
Well, like I said again, I always wanted to have a pool room in my own, because pool for me is like something really big. I always I know a lot of people that they play pool. This is one thing that made me want to move to America too, because most of the famous player and the real game is here in America. And I go to Vegas and play. I play leagues and I play big tournaments and with the really world champions.
so you're a professional Is it pool?
I'm not I cannot say that I'm
Okay.
professional, but
Gotcha.
I play good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You play amazing. I've witnessed that.
Professionals mean you wake up, you spend 5-6 hours on the table play, and this becomes like a job. This is
gotcha.
a professional way because it's a muscle memory work. and
It
I
was it
don't have
natural?
that time.
Was it natural for you as soon as you started playing pool? Were you
Well, yeah,
good?
it's kind of like you have to love what you do. It's
Right,
like a
right,
soccer
absolutely.
player. You have to love how to deal with the ball. It's not about the money. It's not about you just enjoy it.
Yeah,
You do
yeah.
what you enjoy and let people watch.
I enjoy it. But sometimes I'm just off. Like I have days where I'm really
Everybody
good,
is.
and I have
Yeah.
days that I'm trash.
I'm just
Everybody-
trash all the
People
time. I just
play, yeah, people play any kind of sports. You have to have really clear mind and to be happy and give what you wants to give.
Right, right.
So this business started off as something you were passionate about, right? Pool.
Yes.
Having a pool hall.
It was a pool hall and it was a restaurant because the building that we got, it was like kind of 2 buildings put together.
Right.
And so we decided to do a restaurant on one side and the pool room on the other side. But the only problem that I had to face, like most businesses that had opened around that time, I would say after 3 months, the coronavirus hit. So it's because it's just a restaurant and a pool room where a lot of people gather in there, so we couldn't stay open like other.
It wasn't considered an essential
Right.
business. Right.
And it's if we established a couple of years or something and we have some backup to lay on or something, it would have been a lot easier. But we just started the business. You just put everything that you own in the establishment and waiting to work, and it was actually working pretty good.
Right.
But being shut down for like 4 months or 5 months, even when you open, they had to do it at 25% capacity and then 50% capacity. It's still not really helping anything. So it's kind of hurt a lot to like other businesses. But I'll say thanks God we were able to manage how to stay open. So we stayed open, then we started to get busy. But the problem is when they allow all restaurants and bars and clubs to back to business, it wasn't only me busy. Everywhere else was busy, but me a little bit extra because I had what nobody else in Ocala had.
Right.
I have a pool room and a live music, and I have a restaurant where you can order food anytime. So my spot was a place where if you need anything, you can go there. And we started to have a problem for being busy. That's the problem. My capacity is like 200 people max or 180 people max. And Friday night and Saturday night, we'll have 180 people, 200 people inside. And we'll have 200-300 people outside in the parking lot trying to get in. And we just cannot get them in.
Right.
So it became problems to the police, and this problem could happen anywhere else, but it's not really noticeable. But it was more noticeable for me because I am at the same plaza where the police department is.
Gotcha. Wow.
So they like being them driving by all the time. They see this problem, so they were really doing a great job trying to manage this. But at certain points, it became really bigger problem. It's at one point, my place would look like I'm running a war in there. I would see like 10 cops in there. I didn't even need any of them.
Right.
But they got nothing else to do. There's nothing else going on in the city, and it's the same plaza where they work.
Sure.
So they just hang out in there. But they didn't really understand that when sometimes I get people call me, they're driving by, and they say send me a text message and say, "Hey, we was gonna stop by, but there's a lot of cops in there." So they don't look at it that way. They look at it like, we're here to protect you.
Right.
I don't need 10, 15 cops to protect me. I'm not like, people are not coming here shooting each other. People are not coming here. They're just coming to have fun like everywhere else.
Sure.
At the same time, like in the downtown area, there's always some kind of fight or some kind of argument, or so there's like, you should like follow up with that too.
Right.
So it's kind of like it worked that way too.
So some challenges there.
Yeah.
Some. Yeah. Obviously, being in proximity.
It's definitely
like you said,
a
being
lot
in the same
of
plaza.
headache
Yeah.
in that business too.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition. There's not a lot of competition in that business, but the type of noise he was making as far as like success and creating culture and stuff like that. What do you think? How that makes competitors feel, right? Especially someone who's been here for 10 plus years. All of a sudden, you got this new business, not a new business model where you cater not only to one audiences but several, right? Because you had like hip hop night, you did like stand up comedy, you had Latin night, you have all types of crowds from the culture going into this place, and I find it sad that we're in this predicament now because there's a lot of talent here in Ocala, but there's no outlet. There's nowhere where they can broadcast their talent and the things they have going on. They have to go.
I was giving them the opportunity for that and open mic.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that you was thinking out of the box. It made me feel like I had some comfort in knowing that you was doing stuff like that, so the people like me can relate to, because that's stuff that happens all the time in Orlando, Tampa, right? You can find a group of people and be able to relate to. Here, I found it pretty difficult to relate with certain people. I've when I first moved over here, and this is a crazy story. I was doing investigations for corporations. I was like a third party contractor to check profit and loss to make sure the companies are actually doing good, and if they weren't, I would investigate to see why they weren't, right? This is the first week I was here. One of the clients that we had was Publix, and I was just in Publix, walking around. I might have been speaking to someone that was working there, and after like 15, 20 minutes of being there, mind you, I just moved over here, a cop comes in and asks me, what am I doing there?
Right.
And I was just so confused. I really didn't know what was going on, because this is the first time in my life that I've felt this type of attention. Right. It so happened that a customer had called saying that I was stalking, that I was just there stalking. Mind you, I was working. And I felt like I swallowed a ton of bricks, because I knew ahead of time of what I was dealing with. Someone called because I didn't belong in that crowd, in that Publix.
Yeah.
And it was a form of racism. That's the first time I ever experienced it, because I've always lived like in the inner city, with a diverse crowd. It was never just one, like Hispanics, blacks, white. It was all, and we all treated each other the same. Right. And even speaking about that, it turns my stomach, for real. And I think I expressed that to you, right? It's unfortunate. But is Ocala still living that way, where people like me, people like you are being looked at with a side eye?
Yes, and it's just getting worse. Yes, and getting worse.
Is that something you experience?
Yes. And, I even been worried about, like people warned me about this before I even moved to Ocala.
Right. Yeah. I wish you warned me.
Yeah. Well, you know what's different? But here's my that exists. There's no denying that.
Absolutely.
There's no denying it, that there's racism that obviously it exists. Profiling that exists, obviously. Again, never denying that.
There's a huge problem with the city, too.
Right.
I lived in Clearwater, I lived in Tampa, I lived in Orlando for a little bit. The problem with the city here, because it's a small city and everybody knows each other, like I said, people that they can like create hate out of their own mind for no reason. That like from my country in Egypt, we have a lot more people that they live there. Ask me how many times I ever, or me or my family or my neighbors have ever called cops on somebody. Zero.
Wow.
None. We can talk and fix whatever we need to be fixed. Here, people, because there's so many rules and what you don't know, what if they did this, they might get in trouble, or they did this. No, call cops. Like if I put my ball here and it's supposed to be in a different position, somebody might call the cops and say he moved that ball and put it there.
Yeah.
And cop will come in and file a report and you're wasting everybody's time for no reason.
Yeah, it escalates. Yeah.
That I never noticed anything like this bad more than it is in Ocala. People call cops for anything,
Yeah.
for anything, and they just use their imagination to, like you said,
Create-
say
just
people, yeah,
create a
people
narrative.
look at you. They said you might be a problem, you might be a harmful person. Call cops.
Right.
Then
Right.
cops come in, and then it's just a waste of time for everybody.
Waste of time,
Yeah,
waste of resources. There needs to be some change. We spoke about, so back to timeout. We're all over the place with this, with our conversations, which is cool, right? We're just having a conversation.
Yeah, it's just conversation.
Right,
Well, I think
yeah.
the theme is aligned. So some of his barriers or his struggles with timeout was that
Right, yeah.
you bring a diverse crowd in that amount. Period. Differences of personality, differences of whatever. There's bound to be some issues.
Friction.
Friction.
Yep.
Exactly.
It was
There's bound to be. I mean, that's
great,
part
yeah.
of
But there's friction everywhere.
Everywhere.
What-
And
what-
again,
what-
that's part of it. That's part of it.
again, someone that came from the inner city, I didn't understand it, but now I do. That's why I said, when you asked me, do I love Ocala?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good relationship. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope to see, things change a little bit, maybe.
I've been here 16 years. It changed. So that's where I come in my perspective.
Right.
Bro, I came here from the Bronx to Ocala. I go to high school in Denellen. If anyone watching, Mo, if you know Denellen, you think Ocala is small. Denellen is a fraction of the size. And bro, when I got here, there was literally like this turf war in Denellen. People who came from the Northeast, from New York, versus the South. It was
Right.
it exists, bro. There was fights, and all of this was happening. But at the same time, while all of this was happening, my experience is I just kind of, I didn't know any better, so I just dove in. I went in, bro, and I started to play sports, and I just started to do all these things where,
Right.
bro, I was welcomed with open arms. I'm not saying that it was always easy, no, but my perspective is I was embraced. You know what I'm saying? I had the New York accent, had the this, that I was Hispanic, blah, blah, blah. But I was, bro, my best friend was someone who was born in Denellen. What the general population would say he's a redneck. That's my best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The first time I got to fish was with him. Like
Yeah.
I got to experience the outdoors, right?
Right. Ocala have the best natural views.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Or the pretty much.
Yeah.
Really.
So, again, bro, the profile and the racism, the barriers that you had, man, it's heartbreaking.
Well,
But I come from a position of seeing it's heartbreaking, but I also see some progress in certain areas. And again, there's certain areas where we digress. I get
Right.
that too.
Right.
So I see both. You know what I mean? My experience and my wife's experience and my son, bro, we've been embraced by all cultures.
Right.
And I'm grateful for it. And I know that's not the same story for everyone. I know that. And so my objective is that I want to be different. Like I'm going to embrace anybody. My family, man, we love people, period.
Right.
And we love to hear and learn about different cultures. Love to learn about the Middle East culture. We just love it. So our desire, and I'm sure all of us too, is to hear those stories and then to embrace it and to learn from it.
Absolutely.
And
Correct,
hopefully we make a difference in that way.
Right.
In our world, in our sphere of influence.
Right.
Man, lead by, like, model it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Model it.
Right. I think it's a teachable moment, man. I think
It is everything you learn from everything. Like,
absolutely.
I have to tell you, I learned in the 2.5 years that timeout was open. The amount of people that I met, there's a great people that I met, and there's some are bad people that I
Sure,
met.
sure.
But every time you meet somebody and you talk to somebody, you learn something from them. And in this 2.5 years that I've been at timeout, I learned, I will say, equal to what I have learned in all my life.
Wow.
I never was exposed to as many people at one time. You come to timeout all the time, but you always see me between people. You never see me busy with something else. I'm always with 90% of the people. They come in there. They know me from the Double T Club. Or they know me from playing pool, or they know me from somewhere. So I love people. I love to say hi and talk and play pool with people and eat with them and play with them, and sometimes I dance with them, and I love to have that fun moment with everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
It's credible. And that's, and I think so back to that kind of conversation as far as friction and all these things, but you are a prime example of you modeled, even though you were experiencing in some areas difference, like stereotype but you said it is, kind of it is what it is. You're just going to still be you and love people regardless.
Correct.
And that's a big,
I
huge lesson
moved
for
to
all of
America
us.
because of that love that I see from people.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's how it's what you put your focus on, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, you can go to the best city in the United States or the world. There's going to be some type of friction, right?
Of course, yes.
It's not what happens, it's how you react towards it, right? At that moment when I experienced it, I was just confused.
Sure.
I was super confused, but it was a teachable moment, right? I learned that I had to maneuver a certain type of way when I'm here, respectfully for myself, right? Because that could have went left, right? We all see the stories on social media and stuff like that, and I didn't want to be another statistic.
Sure.
Right? So I move accordingly now. But for the most part, Ocala's a great place to be, right? It's a growing city. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's a very growing city.
So as far as timeout, where you at with that? Where does it stand? Because you've been in business for 2.5 years. From the little amount of time that I've been in Ocala, I've seen the growth. Right. You grew exponentially. Right. Now, because of all the citations, all the things that you were dealing with there, has led you to close the doors. Correct?
Well, they didn't really ask me to close the door, but they put me in front of a city councilor to make a decision about taking my liquor license away. And they did revoke my liquor license away from that location. They didn't take the liquor license, but they said this location is not allowed to have a liquor license, which is was kind of like
it kind of really defeats the purpose of having a bar, Billard.
It wasn't really. I could have stayed. I had a hookah lounge and I had a restaurant and I had a pool room. I could have still been in this business and I had my door open. I had a lot of people, they were calling me when they heard about this. They say, stay open. We're going to come. We're all going to come and spend the money. It's not about the money. It's not about the liquor license, or it's not about it just, if I decided to stay, I got to the point where I am in the middle of where the police station is. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, all the businesses around me are closed. I'm the only one open in the area. And I will have 10 to 20 cops. They actually supposedly to be going to their station or to go somewhere. They're just in my parking lot hanging out.
Yeah.
And like, I'm looking into a future bigger problems. Maybe if I ever done something, I'll just stay away from the city.
Sure.
And they wasn't okay with this. They want me to hire 10 officers where I have to pay $2,200 and some dollars. Like, what am I making to give you $2,250 for just come and hang out and then bring their coffee and donuts? Yes, they're doing a great job. If any problem that happened, they'll take care of it.
Sure.
But they wasn't really doing, like, it's a lot of money to pay for pretty much nothing. Oh. I had one of the nights, I had I think it was Thanksgiving or whatever. And they said, last year you were busy. This year you have to have 10 officers. Well, we told them, hey, like, we have, we know there's another events going on in Orlando or Tampa. There's most of the people, they're not going to be even in Ocala. So I was forced to have 10 officers. And I had to pay them $2,250. And I literally that night had no more than 30 customers all night.
I went on Correct. Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
So they made you 10 cops, but you had 30 customers.
Yeah, there's some nights like that.
Right.
There's so many nights like this.
What was the criteria? What was the justification? Capacity? Like, for every 100 people, you have to have 3 cops? Was there a formula to this decision?
I don't know how they look at it, really. They're just like,
I wasn't sure if that was communicated.
The thing is, when you hire officers to come to the establishment, you have to hire off-duty officers. They don't work that night. But if you don't hire them and any problems that happen in there and they have to be there, they will have to call the people that they actually have a different job. So from their point, they are correct 100% because you cannot really do this because these cops are there not just for you. They're there for everybody.
Sure.
So if there is like some emergency somewhere else and they don't have enough officers and because you created the problem first and they're there for you, then I think they're right. I should pay for this because you take away from other people is right.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
So what was that like closing the doors? Because you had employees that were there from the very beginning.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure people had a lot of questions because that was the go-to spot. Every weekend, that was the place to go to. It was like you would start off downtown and you'll work your way there or vice versa. So how has that been since closing the doors from
I'm still in contact with most of the employees that they work there, and most of them they're really like. Some of them find another job, and some of them I think they're still looking for something else. I mean, I cannot really. There's nothing really I can do in my hand. Like if it was my choice, I would not close or just keep them paid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was paying most of them, like I paid my rent. Like when I had to close for the coronavirus for 4 months, I made sure that I always call my employees and we even had a barbecues parties for just the employees and their families.
Wow.
And, like there is a good relationship between me. Some of the employees, no matter how good you are to them, they're natural.
Right.
They just keep moving from a job to work here and get fired here, and then every time they get fired from some place, they're gonna talk bad about the business that they fired them.
Right.
They never admit how wrong they are.
Right.
That's why they never got anywhere in life.
Yeah.
You can't help these people really because they're not helping their own self.
Right.
But there is a loyal, really good, loyal employees that will do anything just to help the business.
Oh.
That's amazing. So was that a defining moment for you? This is the last question we're going to ask. We're going to wrap it up soon. Was that a defining moment for you, having this establishment? I'm pretty sure it's something that you desired. You really had a passion to play pool.
Right.
You created a culture. You gave opportunities. You've done all this massive stuff for the city of Ocala.
Mm-hmm.
I can just tell you, if you want to know this answer, don't wait for me. Just go to Google timeout and just go to timeout's page or go to my personal page and see how people talk about timeout.
Wow.
Like daily, nonstop. They miss this place.
Yeah. So let me speak from my take. So my wife and I, we went several times, and based on my previous kind of role and career, you know, I didn't do much of that, like kind of enjoying the city, so to speak, you know, enjoying just having some fun, kind of letting loose a little bit with my wife.
Right.
And so my brother invited me to time out several times, and I would go with my wife, man, and we had a blast. We and it was funny that we you know, almost 10 years of marriage, and we're like, this is the first time we ever do this together. We dance. My wife and I, we love to dance. Y'all, if I offend you because I like to dance, bye.
Right.
But we had an incredible time, couple drinks, and we had a blast.
Right.
We had a blast.
I have a few stories.
This is what my happiness comes. Like I can
Man,
sit back.
I love this so much. It was my go-to. Like I do so
everybody's
much.
happy.
Yeah.
This is my
And
this was
and
the
you did
place.
that.
I go home
It was.
happy. Yeah.
And there was never, my wife and I, we never felt unsafe.
Right.
No.
And again, that's partly, you know, you brought on, you made sure you created a safe environment.
Right.
If there was beef going on, there probably was. I mean, again,
Yeah.
you have that many people, different backgrounds. But we were safe.
Right.
And we had a good time.
So my thing is, everybody that goes there goes every week because there's nowhere else to go.
Right.
That's my whole
the whole point, yeah.
my whole point of this is like, bro, we need you.
Yeah.
We need time out here. We need that. We need people to be able to showcase their talents. We need some entertainment. We need somewhere where we can feel like, yeah, this is ours. Because we, you know, to be honest, we don't feel like that here.
Well,
Ocala don't want that. It's not me.
Well, we have to make changes. You know, we all have a voice. We all
changes about this. It's like let me put it for you this way. Like if we had that conversation on the phone. If you have a mother and a father, and they have a big, huge house they're running. These mother and father, they're gonna put the rules for everybody in this house.
Right.
For all the kids in this house, they have certain rules to do. No matter what these kids does, for a change, they will never get it because there's a father and mother they're watching, and they're putting away or killing every dream that it's not supposed to be there.
Right.
So
Right.
for that change to be happening, that father and mother, they have to understand there's some changes need to be happening for the business. I remember when I first moved to Ocala, Six Flags wanted to open a location in Ocala, but these father and mother said no. Ocala need to sleep at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
You get.
Yeah, I absolutely get it.
So we need to fire mom and dad.
You're not gonna need to fire
They
them.
need to retire,
They've been there
go on
for
vacation.
20, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just they like even almost 90% of their kids are the same mentality.
Yeah, I have some
It's
crazy
kinda
stories
hard.
about being in timeout.
Yeah.
You see me, when I used to drink, I used to get loose. Like I'm there's nothing really to do here in Ocala. So when I'm out, I'm having fun. I don't mean no malice. I don't try to hurt anybody. But
Nobody wants to hurt anybody. Some
Yeah.
people does though. Some people are just that's their job.
Yeah.
There's a guy that I don't want to say names, but there's a guy dude just like I looked up his record. He have at least 16 arrests for fighting in bars.
So he just went around and just caused.
Yes. He just like he go from this place to this place, fight here, fight here, fight. He might just get lucky and get hurt and sue people, and he did got lucky one time, and he got hurt, and he sued the place and got good amount of money.
Wow.
He went broke again. I just seen his face and actually mugshot about a week ago. He just got arrested again.
For the same
After
reason.
he was lucky, didn't get killed the first time.
Wow.
So there is people are just like that.
Yeah.
This is how their mentality was built.
Wow, crazy.
Right.
Yeah,
You
that's
cannot
not
blame
me. When I
business
drink, I
people.
like to have fun. I like to dance. I like to be around good people, good energy, man. I'm all about good vibes, man. But man, that was good, man.
Yeah. Mo, man, I gotta say, so my brother knows you better than I do,
Right.
but I gotta say, man, I really appreciate your honesty here, bro.
I love, like I said, I moved to this country because I love people, and I hope people they're gonna watch this, they're gonna understand that love is really important.
That's good.
To
And I
make
learned
everything successful.
I learned so much from that perspective that you said, as far as outside perspective. You saw something special in America, in the USA,
Yes.
where those who are in us, we take it for granted, right?
Right.
That's the whole. So you just reminded us of an incredible lesson of really being appreciative of where you are, and hearing a story teaches us a lesson. And that's really what Deafine Podcast is about. We hear stories that we learn from, and vice versa. We hope that one day some of our stories make a difference in somebody's life. So
Absolutely. So again, man, thank you, Mo, for being here. That was
Thank you
that
for
was,
having
know,
me, and
you're,
love you guys.
you're a really interesting person, man.
Yes.
Thank you.
I do want to say, man, I wish you nothing but blessings on
That's right.
on your journey. I know you're not going to stop here. I can see it in your face and in your demeanor. This is a starting point for you.
Yeah.
Let this be a
always been a
defining
start point,
a defining moment where now you live in Ocala and you understand the basis. Now you know how to move and get to where you need to. So before we close out, is there any shout out, any business endeavors people should be looking out for?
What do you mean? Other businesses?
I'd love to hear more about this clothing store that's coming
The
about.
clothing store. It's coming. It's gonna have all the good urban brand names like
Streetwear.
Aku, LRGs, all the hats. Hopefully, we'll get some shoes, all nice, stylish pants and shorts. And
When
like
should
the
we
old
be
time.
expecting that?
I think I'm targeting for November 1st. I should be up.
Wow.
Nice.
November 1st, yo. What's going to be what's the business name?
Double T.
Oh, it's Double T. So bringing that. All
It's
right.
the same thing. It's across the street from the Baddock Mall, across the street from Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
nice.
And that
Oh, that's
plaza in
something
there?
In that plaza, yes.
Oh, that's great.
Perfect.
Oh, man. So November 1st, we'll be on the lookout.
November
Double T
1st,
clothing.
hopefully we'll,
I'll definitely
Get
be
your
there.
drip.
Yep.
All right, thank you guys. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube page at Deafine Podcast. You can check us out on social media. We're on iTunes, Spotify. Thank you for watching again.